pictures in the magazines. I'm all alone and my thoughts amaze me. I lose myself in a white daydream. Excitement takes me to a world of fantasy. Anticipation brings a frozen smile. I'm floating in a cloud of ecstasy. Come on with me, let's ski a while. I can't believe it, it's really the kind. I'm really flying high. I step into space and leave the world behind. I'm really flying high. Up the lift, I'll check out the runs. I've been looking for some untracked snow. I ask myself, are you ready for this one? I find the corners and off I go. On my way, crashing through the fluff now. Drifting silence as I pound away. My baby's waiting when I've had enough now. I'm a snowbound castaway. I'm really flying high. I'm really flying
Before we get started, I better introduce myself. I'm Warren Miller, and in the last 40 years, I've produced 200 or 300 films about skiing. But this is the first time that I've had the privilege of working with the Professional Ski Instructors of America, or as we refer to them in this tape, the PSIA. Now, if you've never skied before, there's a whole section on how to handle your first day or two on skis. We very cleverly put it near the end of the tape, so you have to watch the whole thing. Oh yes, before we go much further, if there's something in the tape that you don't understand, back the tape up and watch it again and again until you do. And don't worry about wearing out the tape, because they tell me you can run one of these things about 500 times before the snow gets packed down too hard to enjoy. Our first instructor is all the way from Kingfield, Maine, but I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, Demo Dave here. How you like me so far? I'm just kidding. My name's Dave Merriam from the PSIA demonstration team. If you forget, it's written right down here. For those of you that haven't skied before, there's a segment on learning the basics at the end of the tape. For those of you that have, let's get started. Begin in a slipping wedge traverse. Feel for more weight on the big toe side of the downhill ski. Rise up, and as the turn's completed, feel for more weight on the big toe side of the other ski. At a slow speed, let's link some of these babies together. And then let's gradually increase your speed. All right. With an increase in speed, that inside ski will begin to point in the same direction as the outside ski as you finish the turn. Here's a neat little exercise to help encourage that action. Begin in a static wedge. Brush the inside ski to match the outside ski. Now let's try it in motion. Brush the inside ski to match the outside ski. Sink to help turn the inside foot, and voila, your skis are parallel. Link these wedge Christies together. Rising to start the turn, sinking and brushing to finish the turn. Flow from one turn to the next. Rise to start the steer, sink and brush to finish the steer.
You know, it's very important for you to understand the mechanics of skiing. Your hands forward, knees and ankles bent. But it's also very important to understand how we physically learn to ski better. Our bodies have the natural ability to learn through experiencing physical sensations. But unfortunately, most of us spend our time thinking about how to ski rather than feeling how to ski. Of late, though, scientists have suggested that by developing the right side of our brain, that's the side that controls the feeling sensations, as equally as we've developed the left side of our brain, that's the one that controls the thinking process, we can maximize our learning potential. Now, from here on, it gets a little complex. So I found a holistic ski philosopher, Marcel, and he'll further explain the right brain, left brain learning concept. Now, Marcel may seem a little strange to you, but then your geometry teacher probably seems strange to you too. But remember, what Marcel has to say will definitely improve your skiing, so listen up.
Bonjour, my friend. I want to show you something. Come in, come in. You know, many women come to me and they say, Marcel, I love to ski. But when I put on the ski boot, I lose the lovely line of my calf. So in keeping with my dedication to the advancement of skiing, I'm developing the high heel ski boot in a pump. It's very difficult, though. I had to learn to walk in these things. Of course, I learned the natural way, experiencing without analyzing. This is very important. When you try to learn by analyzing, your mind can become filled with so many details and instructions that it overloads and your body becomes incapable of doing what you want it to do. Let's take the simple example of removing a twist-off cap from a beer bottle. Initially, you must grip the bottle in a vice-like grip with the muscles of your hand and forearm. Then, with the thumb and index finger of the other hand, exert enough pressure to twist off the cap while simultaneously preventing the bottle from rotating in your hand. Let's say au revoir to a few thousand brain cells, shall we? Au revoir. Your left brain could never learn to do this all by itself. It's your right brain that ignores your mind's interference and intuitively executes the action. I'm sensing some skeptics out there. Allow me to paint you a picture. Maybe you can relate to a similar experience. Say you're at a ski resort with a friend.
Okay, you feel good? You look good. You feel good? All right, here's all you do. Keep your tips up. When you feel the snow beneath your skis, stand up. Once you're standing up, keep your weight forward, keep your knees bent, and keep your arms out in front of you. If you feel like you're going too fast, just brush your skis into a wedge and apply pressure to the inside edges of your skis. You got that? Hey, you paying attention? Hey, come here. You listening to me? All right, now you're probably gonna want to turn. All you gotta do is put your weight on the downhill ski. That's the ski that's opposite the direction you want to turn. Don't look at me, look straight ahead. Get ready, here we go. Tips up, here you go, come on, tips up. Ah, all right, there you go, that's good. Keep them up, 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 up. Here we go, get ready, not yet, get ready, not yet, get ready, not yet. Don't go, go, don't go, no wait, go, go. All right, go. Go, wait, go, wait, stop, no, wait, look at it. Hey, you all right? Man, I told you, weight forward, knees bent, not the other way around. I think that's enough skiing for one day, don't you?
Now, don't tell Marcel, an expert in the field of ski psychology, that that's the way you learned all your life. Well, if you did, then you must have been very unique.
Oh, man, this is serious stuff. They expect me to remember all this? Yeah, but I guess it'll be worth it. I'm gonna learn to walk. Yeah. Okay, move to all fours. Good, okay? Your feet shoulder width apart. Oh, get that knee up, get that knee up. Okay, and my weight all centered, and I'm up. Oh, whoa, I caught an edge. This is the part where I get my lunch break, right? Yeah, this looks good. I wonder if Mom brought ketchup.
Of course, unlike you and me, babies do not worry about doing it the right way. When a baby falls down, his body absorbs all the details without analyzing and instinctively adjusts before the next step is taken. It's only because a baby's mind is quiet enough to sense his body's subtle sensations that any rapid learning takes place. Remember, when you are aware of an experience, you learn at a much deeper level than that of the conscious mind. So be aware of your body and its surroundings. As your skiing improves, you'll find yourself drifting into a state of thoughtlessness and euphoria that cannot be produced by conscious thought. It's called your peak performance. And you can achieve the thrill and exhilaration of your peak performance regardless of your experience level. So remember, my friends, think positive. Well, it's not a glass slipper, but it will do, huh?
Oh boy, that was great. You know, skiing's a real kick, isn't it? You know, we're going to start skiing a little steeper slope, and it's pretty important that you know a reference point on the steeper slopes. It's called the fall line. The fall line is a path that if I rolled a ball down the hill, that's what it would take. If you need a more graphic illustration, this is the fall line. On steeper terrain, you have to bring the skis across the fall line to maintain your speed. And you do that by developing a little more skid and a little less slip. In a gliding wedge traverse, actively direct more weight to the inside of the downhill ski. A little more skidding and a little less slipping. Apply edge and pressure to give the turn a round shape. Matching the skis a little bit sooner. The up movements help start the turn. The down movements encourage that skid. Remember, the steeper the slope, the more important it is to control your speed. Round the turns out, finish them off. It's like a good tennis or golf swing. Follow through. Boy, doesn't the weather change quick around here. You know, an important ingredient of a good ski turn is a well-developed pole plant. This is a well-developed pole plant. On shallow terrain, point your ski straight down the hill. Push off and swing the right tip of your pole forward and back and the left tip of your pole forward and back. Right tip of the pole forward, left tip of the pole forward. Right tip of the pole forward, left tip of the pole forward. Now that you got the feel of the pole swing, combine that with movements in the leg. Down, touch up, down, touch up, down, touch up. Flex and extend in the ankles, knees, and hips. This time, try it in a gliding wedge. Down, touch up, down, touch up, down, touch up. Remember, flex in the ankles, the knees, and the hips. See what I mean about this weather? Boy, unreal. Well, let's add that pole plant to our intermediate Christies. Prepare the pole, touch up, match and skid. Up, match and skid. Left hand pole for the left hand turn. Right hand pole for a right hand turn. Does one turn feel a little bit different than the other? That's perfectly normal. But you know, the only way to practice to that weaker side is by making the first turn to the weak side and then by stopping to the weak side. Now, as you plant the pole, come up and start the next turn. Touch up, turn the skis, match, skid, and now prepare the pole for the next turn. Feel the match happening earlier and earlier. The more actively you move up towards the new turn, the sooner the match. A common problem at this level is fear of the fall line. If you fear the fall line, your movements up are away from the turn rather than into the turn. If you don't move into the turn, you can't release the edges and guide the skis.
Oh, back so soon. Well, welcome back to my humble chalet. You know, it's terrifying what fear can do to your skiing. The biggest obstacle preventing you from improving your skiing is the ever-present fear of falling.
Okay, on a potential pain scale of 1 through 10, I'd say this is about a 9.5. Not to mention the fact that I could maim or kill myself. What is that? These people don't look like pros. Guy looks like a dentist. Other one looks like a clown host of a kid's show. They can make it down the hill without falling. I can make it down the hill without falling. Here we go on 3, 1, 2, and... What am I, crazy? This is a sheer cliff. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll just throw my weight back toward the mountain. If I start to fall, I'll just glide on my back. That'll be fun. Great. Here we go. I must have a death wish. Oh, that wasn't bad. Next time, I use the skis.
Fear is an illusion that distorts your perceptions, your performance, your self-image. Let's take a closer look at fear, shall we? There are three basic elements to any fear situation. First, there is a sense of danger, something that can do harm. Second, a sense of vulnerability, someone who can be harmed by that danger, usually you. Third, a sense of inability on that person to overcome the danger. If any of these three elements are missing, there can be no fear. In this case, the steep mountain looks dangerous, while the vulnerable party, of course, is the skier. But wait, the skier is competent enough to ski the trail, so there's no fear. On the other hand, this skier isn't very competent, but the hill is too flat to be dangerous, so there's no fear here. Now, it's hard to conceive, but a third possibility would be a skier that does not feel vulnerable to being hurt. So it would appear that this individual has no fear, or better yet, no brains. So you see, fear happens when illusion controls at least one of these elements. The solution is to get rid of the elements. If you stare the threat of danger down the throat, you'll increase your awareness of the situation. If you're afraid to ski a particular mogul field, go down and inspect their moguls, and you just might find they're not as big and ominous as you were led to believe. Or if you're not confident enough yet, then ski smaller moguls or bumps. Take control of your skiing and don't resist looking closely at what frightens you. Of course, it's ridiculous to think that you can never get hurt, but don't always think a fall equals an injury. Remember that every class of skier falls. Falling is part of skiing. It's not something to be feared. In fact, when you learn to fall correctly, it can be fun. And you'll find as you lose your fear of falling that you are falling less. And that's part of the fun and excitement of skiing. So remember, as long as you're truly competent in any given situation, take your fears in with you, experience them, and they will disappear. Au revoir, my friend, and remember, think positive.
If you don't know anything about ski design, you may just as well be skiing on one of these. Unlike this 2x4, skis are designed to turn. A board, when placed on its edge and weighted, will carve a straight line. A ski, on the other hand, because of its side cut and flexibility, will carve a turn. Experiment with your own ski's turning ability. Put it on its side, balance against it. Ski design, of course, won't do everything. You have to learn to assist the ski's turning ability. An objective for Class D is to learn to use the skis more effectively. Start out in a wide track traverse. Point the skis down the hill. Push off, swing the pole forward, rise up, and guide the tips into the turn. Up, and guide the tips into the turn. Be careful. Don't push the tails out and pivot the skis from the tip. If you do, the skis are going to slide sideways. Turn the tips in and pivot from under the foot. Be careful not to turn your skis too quick at the beginning, or you'll shape your turns like Z's. Turn them continuously and shape them like S's. Refine the skills necessary to complete a parallel turn. From a slipping traverse, gradually edge the big toe side of the downhill ski and press forward. Try it again, and this time come to a complete stop. Link these together and focus on the end of the turn. Rise up to release the edges, gradually edge the skis. Up, and gradually edge the skis. Focus on the end of the turn. Don't edge your skis abruptly, or the turns will be square in shape. Edge your skis gradually, and the turns will be much rounder in shape. Roll your skis on and off their edges like you were on a banked oval racetrack, flat on the straightaways, up on their sides into the turns. Watch this. Whoa, I gotta get the brakes adjusted on these babies. Speaking of brakes, bikes have brakes, and speaking of bikes, pedaling a bike is real similar to changing weight from one ski to the next. Let's put a few together and pedal through our turns. Incorporate a pedaling action. When you rise up, transfer your weight to your new outside ski. Keep a nice smooth cadence. Take a look at the elements of the parallel turn. Touch your pole while rising on the outside ski. Direct your body toward the inside of the new turn. Steer your tips and gradually edge the skis. Now sink to control the pressure and finish the turn. Prepare the pole for the next turn. Touch, rise and steer, guide, edge and finish. At this point, change the intensity and durations of that edging movement, the pressure movements, and turning the feet. Ski short turns and long turns. Ski them fast and slow, on the steeps and on the flat. Come on. Ski short ones, and then long ones. And then back to short ones again. Ski them at fast speeds, and ski them at a slow speed. And then ski them at fast speeds again. Ski them on the steeps, and then down onto the flats. Mix it up, develop your versatility. At this level, breakthroughs aren't going to come as often as they did in the lower levels. You know, it takes mileage and time to hone those skills. But be nice to yourself, don't get frustrated, and just maintain a good positive self-image.
You know I like me. And when I like me, I think positive. And when I think positive, I love to ski. Do you know your self-image seriously affects your skiing? The difference between a negative self-image and a positive one is the difference between having a lousy day and experiencing your perfect run. Unfortunately, having a negative self-image is epidemic in skiing. All your life, you've told yourself you're no good at something and you can't do it. All that negative talk interferes with your right brain's natural ability to adapt to skiing. In essence, you psych yourself out.
Oh man, the snow's all chewed up. This isn't snow, it's acne. What time does the guy have to get up in the morning to find some decent snow? Yeah. That was a rhetorical question. Jeez, my boots feel lousy. Oh well, I didn't spend 28 bucks just to stand here and look good. Yeah, this is a great place to practice my stunt skiing here. Well, looks like nobody else is into ballet. Okay. Great. Right under a chairlift. Hi, how you doing? Nice wax job on those skis. I don't understand. I'm a better skier than this. This is ridiculous. I kept my knees bent. I had my weight forward. Oh, God, I'm never going skiing again. Maybe I'll just wear my boots in the lodge. Yeah, that's it. It's not how good you ski, it's how good you look. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Consider this. Would you want to be friends with somebody who criticizes and judges you as much as you do yourself? Of course not. So stop sabotaging yourself. When you get angry and punish yourself, your nervous system, which automatically adjusts to your everyday experience, cannot differentiate between the outside world and the world you create in your own mind. In other words, when you tell yourself you're a bad skier, it believes you, and you become a bad skier. This is not the way you are meant to learn. Remember earlier the example of the baby trying to learn to walk by analyzing the modus operandi? Well, do you think that baby would learn any faster if he verbally beat himself up?
She's practically carrying me. You know, some people are made for walking and some aren't. Can't you see I'm one of the aren't? Oh, shoot. I get grass burns even with knee pads. Oh, great. They put me in the advanced class. If I don't bruise to death first, I'll die of stress. Oh, shoot. Great. Look at this guy. A natural athlete. I'm never gonna learn to walk. I'm no good. I might as well crawl the rest of my life. At least that way when I drool, it'll miss my shirt.
Preposterous at best. Of course, as we've learned, babies do not have negative attitudes. Use your power for what it was meant for. Talk yourself into knowing you can do something, into having a good day. Psych yourself up by thinking in a positive and complimentary way and having realistic expectations. Get ready for success, not failure, by setting realistic goals you can accomplish during the length of your trip. Remember, experts did not get that way overnight. Their third step came only after their first and second. Remember, my friends, a positive self-image leads to positive self-talk, and that leads to your peak experience.
You know, in Class E, we're going to be skiing a little steeper slopes. And if you're not moving with your skis, you're out of luck. You may not be skiing slopes that steep, but nonetheless, you have to move with your skis. And in order to do so, you need a good platform to move from. Start out on a medium slope and perfect the traverse. Don't allow any lateral slippage of the skis. Challenge your platform. Make a few steps up the hill. Watch out, though. If you don't have a good platform, the downhill ski is just going to skid away. Don't be critical of your movements right now. You know, you have to move to learn and then learn how to move. But make sure you have a good platform to step off of. Let's link a couple of turns and in between them put a step. Step and turn. If you don't have a good platform, there's nothing to push off of. And if you aren't moving, there's nothing you can change your shape and your movements. As you finish one turn, actively move your body towards the next turn. Take your skis for a ride, rather than the skis taking you for a ride. Now that you're moving on your skis, let's explore some other ways we can step from ski to ski. On flat terrain, push off and skate right down the fall line. Push from ski to ski. These are the beginnings of a diverging step turn. Add this skate movement to the end of some turns. Don't direct your body straight down the fall line like the exercise, but across the fall line towards the new turn. As your tips diverge, step to a flat or slightly edged ski. A diverging step turn can be used when you want to start a turn in a different location. The step helps you glide across the hill until you're ready to begin the next turn. Watch out on those diverging step turns that you don't lean in and step to hold your body up, but move to the ski. Let's try that again. Be more critical about the direction of your movement. Move accurately from one turn to the next. If you project your body too far inside the new turn, you'll probably fall down. If you move in the direction of the old turn, you lose the flow and you'll stall out. Target your body toward the new turn. Explore ranges of movement, levels of intensity. Experiment, play with it. The next step turn that I want to address, it's called the converging step. It's when you want to cut off the top part of the turn. You know, there are a lot of situations when you might want to do that, stepping over a bump or whatever. Let's link a couple together. Step to the inside edge of the new ski so that your tips converge. This cuts off the beginning of the turn. You have to be ready to balance on the ski as it steps to the snow. Now commit all your weight to the ski and move with it. Let's try mixing it up this run. A couple of diverging, a couple of converging, and then no steps at all. Let's go. Try the diverging and the converging, and then no step. If you're having trouble mixing it up and going from one turn to the next, to diverging to a converging or steps to no steps, that's okay. But you know what'll help is if you visualize it in your mind's eye before you ski it. See yourself skiing a diverging and then changing to a converging and then not stepping. So once again, see it, then ski it. Can you pick out which is which? If you can't see it, you can't ski it.
Bonjour. It's okay, I'm no crazy Frenchman. I do this all the time. There are various names for what I was doing, but I call it mental imagery. It's a mental movie of you skiing in your peak performance. Of course, you do not have to dress for the occasion like Marcel. You can do it anytime. On your way up to the mountains, waiting in line for the chairlift, before you go to bed at night. Allow me to demonstrate. At first, it may look like you are watching a movie in which you are the star. Gradually observe your knees bending as they absorb the shock of the terrain and the way you plant your pole going into a turn. As the image becomes sharper and you are more comfortable with this process, gradually evolve from the observer into the doer. Utilize your kinesthetic sense by seeing and feeling from the inside out. Feel the cool wind in your face and the pressure exerted on your skis as you carve a perfect turn. Sense the swift power of your feet and legs and the muscles contracting in your thighs. Hear the skis glide and cut across the snow and taste the... I love the way they carve those short radius turns. Well, there are some distractions which cannot be helped. Your effectiveness depends upon your ability to concentrate. The more you visualize, the sharper the image becomes. The purpose of mental imagery is to visually rehearse what you intend to do on the slopes. Of course, mental imagery cannot take the place of actual skiing, but it is one of the most useful tools we have to improve our performance. So remember, my friends, think positive. Au revoir. Now, if I can just visualize no lift lines.
So far, all the snow you've seen has been groomed by a fleet of $150,000 snowcats that worked all night to smooth out the moguls. Nowadays, at most ski resorts, you have to go looking for moguls. But without moguls, skiing's a lot easier. So a lot of people who gave up the sport 10 or 15 years ago are rediscovering it. Did you know that a body has a finite number of heartbeats in it? Well, a body also has a finite number of ski turns in it. So I personally like to save whatever's left of my body for the smooth, groomed snow turns. But moguls can be fun too, if you know how to handle them. Moguls require a different skiing style and a more aggressive technique.
Hi, I'm PJ Jones, member of the U.S. demonstration team, and I'm going to give you a few tips on skiing the moguls today. One of the main ingredients of skiing the moguls well is having a good short radius turn. Keep that in mind. Let's get started. The essentials of a good short radius turn are nice even speed control, a good pole swing and plant, and even turn radius for both right and left. You'll find if you don't have a nice even pole swing to ski the moguls, the turns become rather jerky, or if you hit the pole too hard. Make it a nice even swing, and it'll make the turn smooth and even. We're now going to discuss absorption, and there are three basic types: an up unweighting, a down unweighting, and a retraction rebound unweighting. Up unweighting is one of the primary ways to absorb moguls, and the reason we use it is to go in the air and clear the bump, not to touch them, and in the air it's very smooth. How we accomplish this is by resisting the down as we move into the mogul and actually springing off of the bump and clearing the next one, or at least the one that you sprung off of. The second type of absorption we're going to talk about is avalement, or the down and weighting movement. Avalement means to swallow up the bump. It's accomplished by a quick sinking motion at the top of the mogul. This lightens the body and the skis so they don't hit the top of the bump abruptly. Then you extend down the back side of the bump to finish your turn. The third type of absorption we're going to use is a retraction or combination of the down and up unweighting. It's a quick retraction before you come to the bump, as I call them, little baby pre-jumps. And so you just skim over the top of the bump and then you extend on the back side. It's probably the most active and the most commonly used way to absorb moguls as we ski down the hill. It also helps us really keep our balance right over our skis, which is real important to skiing steeper terrain. We must stay perpendicular to the slope. What we're going to discuss now are some of the common problems in skiing moguls. One of those is pre-absorbing the bump. That is, we get too low as we enter the mogul so that we have nothing left to absorb with, causing us to sometimes cross our tails and we feel like we won't be able to make the next turn. Another of the common problems in skiing the moguls is the lack of picking a line. If you pick a good line down the mountain like the one you see below you, it looks like a little valley that goes down the mountain. It's a good discipline to follow, and it also makes skiing the moguls easier. You'll see that as I ski down.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordo, four-time world mogul skiing champion. What I strive for when skiing moguls is to take short swing turns into the bumps. To develop this technique, you should practice on groomed runs. Okay, we're reaching for the tip of our ski, we're pushing through, starting at the tip, through the tail. And this is what we want to do when we ski moguls. In a mogul field, there are really three places to make turns: the rut, the side of the mogul, and over the top. To ski in today's moguls, you need to be able to ski in all three places. The most obvious place to turn is the rut. By skiing the ruts, you see where your turns are going to be made. So try to push your tips down into the bottom of the rut. Try not to slap the tail of your ski or slide down into the rut, creating an impact. To get on the sides of the moguls, you will actually be banking your turn off the side. Be sure to keep your upper body square, facing down the fall line, and your weight going down the hill. Never let your body get behind your skis. For the most rewarding type of mogul skiing, try skiing over the tops. To get up on the tops and into the smooth spot, you have to cut across the rut and up the front side of the mogul. The key is snow contact and absorption. Turning in a mogul field while skiing over the tops can be smooth as silk. Here are some tips to remember while skiing moguls. First, always have an aggressive pole plant. Reach for the tip of your ski or the top of the mogul. Remember, if your hands are forward, your weight's forward. If your hands are back, your weight's back. You always want your weight forward to keep in good control when skiing moguls. Next, absorption. It's extremely crucial. If you don't absorb, you'll find it very difficult to cut across a rut. First, lead with your pole plant on the top of the mogul. Prepare for an impact with the upside of the mogul by bending your knees and keeping pressure on the front of your boots. Then you extend using hip projection. That is, pushing your hips forward and pointing your toes and ski tips towards the snow. Now, snow contact. Your ski should always follow the contour of the hill. When it goes up, you go up. When the mogul goes down, you go down. You should be feeling what's happening under your feet and looking approximately 1 to 2 moguls down the hill. Okay, to control your speed when you're skiing moguls, you use an aggressive chest and don't glide as a racer would. Remember, when you're a good mogul skier, you stay close to the fall line and you don't pick and choose the easy route. You carry consistent speed for your ability, and you don't hesitate to ski over the tops. In short, you make lots of turns, carry consistent speed, and show nothing but precision, and you'll be hot.
I know what you're thinking. If this guy was at the top of the tape doing the how not to demonstrations, where's the credibility if he's going to be doing the how to demonstrations now? Easy. I got smarter. I watched the tape you're watching right now. So, let's start with the skis. If you can, you want to buy your skis from a personalized ski shop where you know that the employees are skiers themselves. What you don't want to do is buy your skis from some guy in a van alongside the road. Now, I don't care what class skier you are, when you're talking to the salesman, you have to be honest about your abilities. Don't let your ego get in the way. A good salesman's going to ask a lot of qualifying questions, such as the length of skis you've used in the past, where you like to ski, and the kind of terrain you like to ski on. With this information, along with your height and weight, a good salesman can recommend the skis that suit you best. Now, the best way to buy your skis is to narrow your choices down to 2 or 3 pair. Many shops have a demo program that lets you try out the skis before you buy them. They'll charge you a small rental fee and then credit that to the purchase price. If you're a beginner, your length of ski should be anywhere from eye level to 2 inches above your head. The ski should be a little longer for heavier people. Now, beginning skis are easy to turn, they don't have much side cut, and they're soft flexing. Even the most timid, unconfident skier shouldn't be skiing below a 150 centimeter ski. You remember the metric system, right? That's when you fell asleep during grade school. Be right back. Told you. Now, intermediate skis are usually 2 to 4 inches above your head. They've got more side cut, and they're stiffer in the tail, but they still have a fairly soft tip. Hot intermediate skiers usually ski a 195 to 200 slalom or a 200 to 204 GS. Back in a sec. I love this business. Now, high-performance advanced skis track well. They're more forgiving than racing skis, especially at the end of the turns. They're easier on bumps, and they usually have a slalom side cut. They hold well on ice, and they ski well on most conditions, and you don't have to be on them all the time. Racing skis also track well at speed. The main difference between racing skis and high-performance recreational skis is they reward your excellence but punish your mistakes. And they have more snap than high-performance skis, but you always have to be concentrating and you have to be on top of them at all times. High-performance recreational skis and racing skis are generally skied the same length. The hot guys, usually of average size, ski a 204 slalom and a 208 GS. The ladies tend to go a little shorter. For example, World Cup women racers really don't ski over 190 to 195 slaloms and 195 to 200 GSs. If you want to ski the bumps a lot, you might go down 5 centimeters. And keep in mind that shorter skis are usually easier to turn, but less stable at speed. Yeesh. So much for skis. All right, let's spend a couple of hours on poles, shall we? And the only thing you have to know about poles is how to size them for yourself. So you want to take your pole, this one's bent, but it'll do. Turn it upside down and grab it just below the basket. Now, if your forearm is parallel to the ground, that's the pole for you. Stay.
I sure wish that every one of my skiing days could be powder snow and sunshine, but unfortunately, it's not the case. Sometimes there's ice, or as the local snow reports call it, hard-packed granular. As a matter of fact, sometimes just getting from your car in the parking lot to the lift can be a major problem. If you ever make it across the ice, or as I call it, loud powder, and get to ride to the top of the mountain with a good instructor, skiing on that ice can be made a lot easier. Here's Carol Levine from Idaho. She's another member of the PSIA demonstration team, and she'll show you how to handle that ice much more easily.
As you probably know, skiing ice can be rather tricky at times. And the natural reaction is to stomp on that outside ski and be overly aggressive. And what we need to do instead is be light and still be aggressive. Here's a few tips that might help you out. The 2 points of emphasis here are to edge the ski early, just like you always do, but to soften the motion so that there's a lightness at the beginning of the turn. So whether you're stemming or paralleling, there's a light phase at the beginning of the turn. Now, after the light phase, you want to have a good, strong body position with all or most of your weight on that outside ski. You want to have your upper body well angulated out over that ski. And you also want to remember to have an aggressive pressuring and edging action so that you control the end of the turn. Again, a light phase and then a strong phase to finish. Light and then strong. Light. You want to edge the ski early in the turn during the light phase, follow through with a strong body position and an aggressive edging and pressuring action to get on and off that ski quickly. To get used to moving softly when you're skiing ice, make some short turns. At a nice slow speed, let the ski slide, but move up and down rhythmically, nice and slow, gently, so that you feel light. And when you're comfortable with that light feeling, then add more edge and pressure so you feel a little more control at the end of the turn. The idea is that you want to feel control, but you also want to be light to get things going. Remember, give yourself a break. Start out at a slow speed so you can stay in control when skiing ice. And also, don't expect your skis to feel like they do on packed powder. They're going to slide a little bit more on ice, but with these tips, you can stay in control and you can still have fun.
Hi, Welcome to Bootville. I think boots are the most important piece of equipment you have because if they don't fit properly, your feet are going to hurt and you're not going to have fun no matter what you do. So deal with a shop that comes recommended to you by somebody you trust, preferably one that offers a guaranteed fit. Now, initially, it's the boot fitter you're shopping for, not the boot. So you want to use the same intensity to shop for a boot fitter that you might use to find a surgeon who's going to operate on you. Now, he's going to ask a lot of questions, and he's going to examine your bare feet to find potential problems. Because without this information, he's not going to be able to find the boot that fits you just right. Everyone's feet are different, so it's important that your boot is customized to fit your feet. Here they are, the ugliest feet in show business. Now, 90% of all skiers have pronating feet. Now, this is a natural function, but it does pose a few problems, such as black toe, irritation on the inside of the ankle bone, arch cramp. You might get a bump on the back of your heel or shin irritation. Now, to get a feel of what pronation is all about, stand with your feet flat on the floor. Now, concentrate on your right foot as you turn with your upper body to the left and look over your left shoulder. Now, the inside of the back side of the foot rolls to the inside, and the front moves to the outside. Your foot elongates a bit, and this is pronation. Now, to correct this, I recommend orthotics. These are custom foot beds that are molded to the bottoms of your feet. Now, you can get them from a podiatrist or a ski shop, but ironically, the ski shop will design them better for less money. Now, a boot without orthotics is like a motorcycle without a seat or a footrest. It'll get you there, but chances are you're going to be in a lot of pain before you arrive. If you've got problems, try experimenting with your boots. As far as pronation problems, try taping a heel wedge underneath your heel with the high side on the inside and the low side on the outside. This lifts the heel into the narrower part of the boot's heel pocket. Also, tape a C-shaped pad on your inner boot so that it encircles the rear half of your inside ankle bone. Sometimes a heel wedge and a C-shaped pad are used in conjunction with an orthotic. In doing this, you just might discover that pronation-related problems have unexpectedly cleared up. When you're being fitted for boots, wear the same weight sock that you'll be skiing in. A well-fit boot means your foot is comfortably confined. Only your toes should wiggle. Your heel, instep, the ball of your foot should be immobilized. There should be no pressure points over the instep, around the ankle, or against the shin. While you're in the ski shop, walk around in your boots for about 20 minutes. Now, you want to try to make them hurt so that you can tell where any potential problems might arise. And don't be influenced by your friends when it comes to what kind of boot to buy. What fits their feet doesn't necessarily fit your feet. Hey, are buckle boots your style? Well, then you should be able to close the buckle with one finger. If you can't easily close the buckle, take the boot to a fitter and he can correct it with the proper padding. If the boot tongue irritates your shins, take a Ziploc baggie, spray a little Armor All inside, zip up the bag, and place it between the boot tongue and your sock. Oh, and make sure the Ziploc part sticks out of your boot so as not to add irritation to your shin. Yikes. Always dry your boots after skiing. Nothing up my sleeve. Presto. Now, your inner boot should be hung on an extended hanger to dry. I'll show you how to do that real simply here with a hanger. One quick bend into the boot, and voila. Now, in the morning, if your boot's still wet, you might want to use a hair dryer to finish the job. If you have a perspiration problem on your feet, use an effective antiperspirant. Bring 5 or 6 pair of ski socks with you on a trip, and never wear the same sock again unless you wash it first. And don't use a liquid fabric softener because it has chemicals in it that can cause perspiration. You can wear more than 1 pair of socks if your boots are too large, but I highly discourage this. When you wear 2 pairs of socks, you're changing the size of your feet evenly all the way around. Now, that's not how the foot normally grows. It grows in some areas more than others. So to prevent damage to your feet, it's best to have a boot fitter install pads in your boots. If you have circulation problems, it will usually affect your toes. If your feet are cold but dry, rub an analgesic cream like Ben Gay into your toes and around your feet. But please do this in the privacy of your own home. See what I mean? Ugh. Are your feet prone to getting cold? Well, first they put a man on the moon, now they put a heater in a boot. Or maybe these boot muffs are more your style. Now, you've heard of some skiers having a canting problem. Canting is when your skis don't lie flat on the snow when you're in a natural, relaxed stance. Sometimes correcting pronation takes care of canting problems, In other cases, a wedge installed underneath your binding will solve the problem, although there are boots on the market with adjustable cants. Now, if you think you have a canting problem, see a boot fitter. He can check your cant and make the corrections, but always remember, Genghis Khan, you can't.
Hi, I'm Max Lundberg, the Educational Vice President for PSIA. Powder skiing is great. Not all of us are able to make linked turns down the fall line in control like I've just done. And that's why I want to show you a few things that will really make skiing powder easy. We're going to start using a wedge traverse. For some of you, that's going to seem really simple. But to make it obvious, we're going to go out and ski on the pack where you can see what it looks like. Now that we're here on the pack slope, you can see the wedge traverse position more clearly. As I step out into the wedge, you can see that the downhill ski has a strong edge on it, and the uphill ski is pointed in the direction I want to go. When I come up, the downhill edge will be released, and my body will be pushed in the direction I want to go. It really makes the turn easy. Look, I come up, the edge releases, I glide in the direction I want to go, and then sink down to finish. Now you notice as I finish, coming down was not to make my body lower, but to get more edge on that downhill ski. Now we've seen what it looks like on the pack, let's go find the powder. We'll start in the wedge traverse position just like we did on the pack. From that wedge traverse, we'll rise up to decrease edge, direct the ski to the fall line, then sink down and finish. Then back into a wedge, up, sink, and finish. From the wedge, rise up, drift, sink down. Wedge, rise up, sink down. Up, sink down. Wedge, up, sink down. One of the things I'd like to remind you of as you go into these turns is to make sure you take your time. When you come up and give yourself a little time to drift into the turn, then settle down to finish. We're going to go on and do some parallel turns now using almost identically the same approach. We'll start out in the same position that we were in the wedge, rise up to release the edge and let the ski drift, and then sink down to finish the turn. Let's give it a go. All right, come up, let the skis drift, sink down. Up, sink down. Well, in this run, watch for the periods of time when I'm pressuring the ski and when I'm relaxed. You'll see it. Boy, that's going to be great. Okay, pressure, relax, pressure, relax, pressure, relax. Oh, that's great. Well, we've made linked turns down the fall line. Now the foundation is established for good powder skiing. There are a couple of things, though, that I'd like you to remember. One, don't get in a hurry. Remember to take your time as you come up and start the turn. The ski is a tool. Let it work for you rather than you trying to force your way around. And that leads me to the second concern. Don't try and muscle turns. You can't get away with it for more than a couple in this snow. So use that tool, make it work for you, and have a great time.
Hey, like these? Got them after college. You know, most people get a car after they graduate. I got these. Anyway, if you're a beginning skier, you're probably gonna feel like going out and get one of those high-fashion ski ensembles, right? Forget it. What you have in your closet is probably enough. Now, overheating is a problem because you perspire. Hey, we can't help it, we're mammals. Now, if you spend a lot of energy going down the hill, it's a good idea to unzip your parka when you're waiting in the chairlift. That way the moisture evaporates. Look, layering is the key to adapting to weather changes. Now, first of all, you're gonna need long underwear, bottoms and tops. Now, it's important not to wear a one-piece because, well, frankly, you're gonna have some trouble when you go to the bathroom, if you know what I mean. If you don't have a set of long underwear, then flannel pajamas will suffice. Now, the best material is polypropylene or Thermax because that draws the water off the surface of the skin, including perspiration. Pants. Don't wear jeans because they get wet, they freeze, and your legs break off. Even if you Scotch guard them, it's not going to last but maybe a couple of hours, and then it's going to get wet again. The best kind of pants are waterproof Gore-Tex ski pants. Even nylon will suffice, and you can even get the kind that zips around another pair of pants if you like. You can wear a turtleneck sweater to keep your neck warm or a flannel shirt. Next, wear a not too bulky wool sweater. And you don't get bonus points for color coordination, obviously. For an outer garment, you can wear a winter jacket or a parka. Now, some people like to wear a windbreaker between their sweater and their jacket, especially on an extremely cold day, because that keeps the warm air in and the cold out. And hey, if you got a high collar, zip it all the way up, keep your neck and face warm. Socks. You know, it's a common fallacy that if you wear 2 pairs of socks, your feet are going to stay warmer. Actually, if you wear more than 1 pair, your feet are going to perspire. There's that mammal thing again. And that's going to result in blisters and hot, irritated feet. The most important thing to remember about keeping warm is that your face and hands act as a thermostat. When it's cold, your body reverts to what's known as the mammalian dive reflex. This happens when your body thinks it's going to freeze to death. It draws the blood from your outer extremities and into your inner cavities. Now your hands. The best kind of glove you can wear is a mitten because your fingers are together and they're keeping each other warm. It's kind of a community thing. Some of the newer gloves are made of Gore-Tex. That's a material that draws the water away from the skin and onto the outside of the glove where it can be evaporated. Either way, you want to make sure your gloves are wind resistant and water resistant and long enough to cover your wrists. If you insist on using leather gloves, I recommend Snow Seal. Rub it in, dry it with a hairdryer, do it 2 or 3 times. I don't have to demonstrate this for you, do I? A couple of tips. Never touch your metal ski poles or your chairlift with your bare hands, because this will trigger the mammalian dive reflex, and your body temperature decreases and your heart slows down. Always wear a wool cap. Up to 80% of your body heat escapes through your head. If it's a warm spring day, take your cap with you, put it in your pocket. You're going to thank me if it gets cold. If it's extremely cold, a face mask will take the chill right out of your body. It's bad looking too. The best goggles have a double lens ultraviolet light protection and anti-fog coating. The downside of these goggles is that when they get wet, the surface of the lens becomes soft. So it's important not to use paper towels or Kleenex to dry the inside of your goggles because it can scratch the lenses. Instead, clean them with an anti-fog cloth or a soft cloth. Now, there's a new orange tint double lens goggle on the market that I highly recommend because it has tremendous benefits when skiing in flat light conditions. Also, make sure your wrists, waist, and ankles are covered so that the snow and cold doesn't enter between the gaps in your clothes. Oh, word to the wise, don't drink caffeine beverages or smoke cigarettes because they restrict your capillaries, which slows the flow of blood to the vital organs in your body. And remember, a big part of keeping warm is keeping dry.
As upper-level skiers, jumping will become a basic part of your skiing repertoire. There are basically 2 kinds of jumps, a retraction jump or a jump rope jump, like so, or a full body jump or a basketball jump, like so. In the retraction jump or the jump rope jump, you want to pull your legs up to you. In the basketball jump, you want to extend your whole body up. The basketball jump is a longer jump, lasts longer, get a little more air. Actually, a little more fun. These are the retraction jumps or the jump rope jumps where you pull your legs up to you as you come down the hill. An important part of jumping is landing. Some of the things we need to consider are the steepness of the hill. If we land on a steeper hill, we don't have this hard shock as if we land on a flat slope. One of the other things is the length of our legs. Make sure your legs are long so they can absorb the shock of the landing like a car shock absorber. If you're turning when you jump, make sure you land on a slicing, cutting-edge ski rather than on a flat ski for the same reason, so you have more glide in the turn. The other things we need to look at are where our body weight is. We need to keep it right over the center of the ski so we move with the skis evenly down the hill, and we need to pick where we land. Make sure we pick a nice, smooth spot to land on. Remember, jumping is an essential part of upper-level skiing, but the slopes are open to the general public. So remember to make sure your landing area is clear of all other skiers and obstacles. Ski smart and ski safe.
Skiing's a risk sport. To call it anything else is to do the sport a disservice. For example, a 3-year-old child jumping an inch in the air off a bump is at risk in his mother's eyes. The Mares, when they won their Olympic medals, were also at risk. But remember, a lot of people feel that if you don't discuss risk, it doesn't exist. Hey, what if we substitute the word risk with the word freedom? To me, this is what skiing's all about, risk and freedom. You can reduce your risk in skiing by taking lessons. And don't stop taking those lessons once you learn your basic skiing skills. Why not take an improvement lesson or two every 10 to 14 days you ski? And while I'm on the subject of risk, let's mention insurance. Today it contributes to as much as 10% of the cost of everything connected with skiing, lift tickets especially. But you can ski safer with a PSIA instructor, a guy or a gal, take your choice. And oh yes, please ski with responsibility and consideration for everyone else on the hill, and you'll reduce their risk too.
I'm not a doctor. In fact, I don't even play one on TV. But let's talk fitness anyway. And chances are when you go skiing, you're going to be at a higher altitude than you're normally used to, and there's not going to be one of those yellow masks dropping down should we experience a sudden loss of cabin pressure. If you're not normally in shape, you're going to want to stay in shape just by doing the sports that you enjoy doing, such as jogging, bicycling, roller skating, and button, who's got the button. Now, stairs are really good because they not only build your thighs, they also build your stamina. Here's Warren's favorite exercise. Find a wall, lean up against it. You know, Warren and I are like this. I was over at his house the other day, and the man doesn't have a stick of furniture. He's got a couch that looks just like this, only is 3 times wider. Now do this once a day until you get tired of it. That's enough for me. And remember, with any fitness program, always consult your doctor first. You know, the sun is much more intense at higher elevations, and you multiply that when you consider the reflection of the sun off the snow. The ultraviolet rays are of greater hazard to your skin and eyes, but your lips are more vulnerable because they don't have that natural pigmentation to protect them. That's why it's important to use lip balm and sunscreen on your lips, your nose, your earlobes, and the backs of your hands. Now, sunglasses with ultraviolet protection will prevent you from getting snowblind and prevent you from burning your eyelids. It's also a good idea to have a string on the back of your sunglasses so that when you fall, if you ever do fall, they don't slide down the hill without you.
You know, skiing fast can be a lot of fun, but there are a couple of things you need to remember in terms of safety. One is crowds. These runs are open to the public. They're not roped off like downhill racing, and you can't predict what another skier is going to do, and they sure don't know what you're going to do. So look for runs that are less crowded and avoid the people. The other is terrain, and as you know, there are moguls, there's powder, there's groomed slopes, there's ice. All of those things determine how fast you can ski and ski safely. So keeping those in mind, let's go out and slice and dice a little bit. Now, before I can really let them go, I need to feel in control. I need to be secure at the end of the turn and develop confidence. Now that I'm feeling secure, I want to direct the motion toward the next turn. So I pick up speed. Now that you're feeling secure and you have confidence in what your skis are going to do, you need to take the up motion and direct it toward the next turn. Rising up and over toward the next turn. That takes an actual physical move and an offensive mental attitude. Where are you going? Not across the hill, bracing against the fall line. You are going toward the next turn. You're starting now to direct that up motion toward the next turn, which means you're going to start picking up some speed. To deal with that speed, you need a good basic position, just like Demo Dave has been talking about. Making that position stronger by putting all or most of your weight on the outside ski, by letting your upper body angulate well out over that ski to give you a strong position of power as you complete the turn. Skiing fast can be exhilarating. It can be a real kick. Just remember that skiing fast does not mean skiing out of control. Control means having choices. Decreasing speed, increasing speed, it's your choice depending on the terrain and the situation. And remember too, it takes an aggressive physical move as well as an offensive mental attitude. And with those thoughts in mind, you can ski fast, you can stay in control, and you can have one heck of a good time.
All right, now there's this rumor going around that only racers need to tune and wax their skis. That is a lie. All skiers, I don't care if you're a recreational skier or a racer, you're going to benefit from well-tuned and waxed skis. Tuned skis help you glide smoothly, turn easier, and ski properly in all snow conditions. Skis need tuning because the natural wear and tear is constantly changing the base and edges. It's sort of a metaphor of life. Now, poorly tuned skis will hold you back and make skiing a lot harder, and hey, who wants that? Even those so-called factory tuned skis that come right out of the box usually need to be tuned and waxed. That's because they're generally tuned with a high-speed machine where the emphasis is on protecting the shipment rather than preparing the ski. You might as well ski on the box. Now, the first thing you want to do is make sure the base is flat. So use 2 rubber-padded vices and securely clamp down the ski with its base up. Now that's up, as in, well, as in up. Always work on a ski from tip to tail. You might want to use a thick rubber band to retract your ski brakes, otherwise they're going to get in the way, you're going to get frustrated, rip them off, and then you're really in trouble. Hold a steel straight edge flat against the base of the ski, side up into the light to see if it's perfectly flat. If the base isn't flat, then you're going to have to file it that way. Hold the file at the most efficient cutting angle, usually 45 degrees, then push or pull the file flat against the base with your thumbs on top of the file directly over the ski's edges. Now you're going to want to file in long, even strokes using moderate pressure until it's flat. Next stop, the edges. Okay, lock the ski in the vise with the edge facing up. Now your objective here is to cut a 90-degree angle on the edge. First, coat the edge with a black magic marker. Then hold the file against the edge with your hand curled over and your knuckles, if you have them, resting on the base as a guide. You're going to want to file in long, smooth strokes, pressing lightly. As the black mark disappears evenly, this is added confirmation that you're cutting a 90-degree angle. When you finish an edge, take your whetstone, run it lightly down the full length of the edge, once on the side and once flat on the base. This is going to remove any tiny burrs that were left by the file. The last preparation is to dull the tips and tails. Clamp the ski down with its base up and use your whetstone to lightly dull the edges at the tip and tail. If you don't do this, sharp edges on the tip and especially the tail can hang up and spill you. And you're also going to be more prone to put somebody's eye out on the chairlift. If you're one to bevel your edges, which has some use in downhill and giant slalom racing, you're going to have to experiment to discover the best degree of angle that suits your needs. But for the vast majority of skiers, hey, 90 degrees, it's all you need. Now you're ready to wax your skis. Clamp your ski in the vise with the base up. Tell me if you've heard that before. Clean the base before waxing, and you can use a base cleaner or use hot wax to draw the dirt to the surface before scraping it off. If you're waxing an extruded base, you should know it doesn't accept wax very well. They're usually on older or less expensive skis. If there's any doubt about what kind of base you have, ask your ski shop. This is an iron. Don't panic. Okay, keep the iron's temperature control on low or permanent press or silk. The temperature should never exceed 250 degrees, which is when wax starts to smoke. Hold the iron, pointed down toward the ski, push the wax against the iron, and as it melts, dribble a stream of wax along the base. Now iron the wax into the base, but make sure you always keep the iron moving. Never let it stop in one spot. When you get a smooth sheet of wax, let it cool. Then with a plexiglass scraper, scrape all but a thin layer of wax from the base. If you're waxing a centered base, which is more of a porous structure, it will then take 10 minutes worth of waxing at 240 degrees to fill all the pores of the base. Centered bases take about 20 minutes to cool, then scrape it off, and you're ready to go skiing. There are different waxes for different temperatures. Try a multi-pack, follow the manufacturer's recommendations for the right temperature range. And there's a universal wax that has the broadest temperature spectrum. When in doubt, use this one. It's pretty good, tastes good too. Hey, want to see a neat effect? Get your finger on the pause button. When I say now, pause. Now. Pretty cool, huh? Like to ski rocks? Great, me too. This segment's for you. Gouge patching. You use a P-Tex candle for this process. Light the candle so it begins to burn. Hold the candle close to the steel scraper so that the carbon drips onto it. Now, transfer the candle to the ski, holding it close to the base so that you have a clean blue flame. This will keep the P-Tex clean as it drips into the gouge. Allow the P-Tex to dry, scrape it flat with a metal scraper. Now you're ready to tune your skis. Here are some basic home tuning tools that you ought to have. An 8 or 10-inch mill bastard file, a base cleaner, a stiff plexiglass scraper, a steel scraper, universal wax, a steel straight edge, a set of vices, a whetstone, an electric iron with a thick base plate and temperature control. A set of vices costs anywhere from $25 to $60, so you might want to go in with a friend and split the cost. As far as an iron goes, you can get a used one at a thrift store. Don't use your good one. You might get wax in your shorts. Ouch.
Well, we were gonna do a section on the basics, but it's just too darn cold, so we're gonna skip it. No, I'm just kidding. Here's some exercises to help you get familiar with the strange movements and the strange equipment in skiing. Pick up one ski, and then the other. Get used to the weight of the skis. Now turn one ski this way and that way. Try it with the other. This way and that way. All right, let's try walking around. If you don't want to do these exercises out on the slopes, do them in your own home. But give yourself a little room. Now we're ready to step up the hill. Take a couple of steps, and if you feel like the ski's washing out away from you, it's probably because you don't have a good platform. Here's a good exercise to get the skis on their side to make that good platform. Just reach down and put your fingers underneath your skis. Do you see how that rolls the skis on their side? That's going to give you that platform. Without the platform, you can't step up the hill. So we step, and be cautious that you don't step the tips up the hill, because if that happens, you wash back this way. If you step the tails up the hill, you're going to move forward this way. Keep the skis across the hill. Step, step. Okay, now we're ready to slide down. Put your poles down the hill and take some small steps to get the skis pointed down the hill. Ski through them and enjoy the ride. Let's try that straight run again. But this time, let's pay attention to a nice, relaxed, athletic stance on our skis, which will allow us to make the adjustments necessary to maintain balance. Again, put your skis down the hill, and we're ready to go. A nice, relaxed stance, and enjoy the ride. If you feel like you got that one licked, let's try another one, but stepping from one ski to the other ski. This way, and step this way, and step this way. Let's try that straight run again. This time what I'd like you to do is just stretch and bend those legs. We gotta move on our skis. You know what they say, if you ain't moving, you can't dance. Now that I got you to the point where you're dangerous, I'd like to address the issue of when you are straight running and you do get out of control, just sit down to one side and slide. It's like sliding into home base. It's real important that we don't stick our knee into the snow or put our butt on the tails of our skis, because we'll keep going. So if you are straight running and you do get out of control, slide into home base. All right, you're on the ground and you got your rear in the rhubarb. Let's get yourself back up. Put your skis underneath your body and across the hill. Grab the top of the pole and the other pole down here. Push forward and up and there. There you go. Well, now that I'm here, I think I'll give it another try. I'll show you another way to get up. Onto your knee, walk your hands across and up. Well, now that I'm here again, I'm going to show you another way. This is a real graceful one. Put your skis across the hill like this, bit of a push-up, up like this, step your skis around, and there you are. An important thing before you take off again is get yourself together. Brush the snow off your pants or off your parka. Grab your ski pole. You probably got a buddy down there and he's saying, come on, let's go. Get it together, poles on, and then take off. Next, let's learn to turn the feet. Brush the skis out and step back. Brush the skis out and step back. All right, let's head up the hill and try it in motion. So we brush the skis out and glide. Brush the skis out and glide. Here we go again. Let's brush the skis out and glide, but maintain it. Maintain the V. You're probably wondering, how do I control my speed? Well, you can't. No, I'm just kidding. You can. And the way we do it is by brushing the skis out and making a wider wedge. Gliding wedge, braking wedge. Gliding wedge, braking wedge, to a stop. There. Gliding wedge turns. Just point your skis, feet, and legs in the direction that you want to go in. Hey, these puppies are turning. When you're skiing on steeper slopes, turn the legs and feet more to point the skis further across the hill to maintain your speed. Now that you can control your speed, let's go on the lift. You know, on my way down, I was just thinking, riding a lift must be more fun than skiing. People never wait in line to ski. They always wait in line to ride the lift. If you've never ridden one, here's a few tips to get you started. Make your way through the corral and be polite. Don't step on people's skis. Tell the lift attendant you've never ridden the lift before. Remove your poles from your wrist. And if you're single, move out to the red zone. If you're married, don't ride the lift. Look to the inside, grab the lift, and enjoy the ride. As you near the top, you'll begin to see some signs that say, prepare to unload. Put your poles again in your outside hand and move your fanny to the edge of the chair. Then you'll see some signs that say, keep your tips up. Put your tips up, and you're ready to unload. Stand up and ski down. Now there, that's more fun than skiing, isn't it?
Ah, boy, there's nothing better than a hot soak after a hard day on the slopes. And you know, I have a little exercise to help maximize those soaking times. But you know, I'm gonna save it for the next how-to. Well, good luck on the hill. This is Demo Dave signing off. Until next time.
Now that you understand everything on this tape, I've got a final word or two. Remember, with freedom, there's risk. If you haven't done anything athletic since that volleyball game 14 years ago, the experts suggest that you enroll in an aerobics class before you take your ski vacation. And remember that many major ski resorts are above 10,000 feet, and the FAA requires oxygen above 9,000 feet. So you might want to see your doctor before that ski trip instead of after. So do what the experts on this tape tell you to do. They're teaching with generally accepted ski techniques. But also be guided by your own ability, your equipment, and changing snow conditions. And remember, each one of us is different. We're tall, short, weak, thin, fat, strong. So don't try anything until you're ready. And your own boundaries of freedom will rapidly expand while you're learning to ski. I'm Warren Miller, and I hope you've learned something from this tape. I know I have. And oh yes, if you haven't learned anything yet, run it again and again until you do. And when you do learn to ski better, join me at the top of the hill with your friends and just watch us run.
I've been trying to tell you, with our backs to the wall, we won't feel so bad. running